What's going on, guys? Bladezilla here, and today we are taking a look at a cool new one from Koenig. This is called the Xenon, and it's actually my first time looking at it. Haven't even taken photos of it. I just wanted to take it out and kind of do a first impressions on the knife with you guys for 15-20 minutes. Talk about it. I don't have specs, etc., but figured because it's so new and I haven't heard much about this, I figured it's worthy of a quick YouTube video. So that's what's on the go today. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a cup of coffee, wine, cold beer, whatever you're kind of into as you see fit for the time of day, because we got a cool one to take a look at today from our friends over at Koenig. So as a reminder, check out bladezilla.ca, where a lot of the knives featured on this YouTube channel are available for sale in Canada. Just added some CCKS stuff and Blade Show West stuff. There's another stack of stuff here beside me that's going to be kind of trickling out. So some Striders, some more Outbreak stuff that's kind of backfilling, some Thai MSIs, all kinds of good stuff. That Q95, still have one of those. And then the CKF Sukhois, those are just incredible. Lots of ProTech. Lots of other brands as well that are not on that main page there. This guy's a bit of a diamond in the rough, that Riot full Zerk Mantis, really killer knife, and lots of other stuff. Anyway, so go check out bladezilla.ca for more, but we're not here to talk about Bladezilla. We're here to talk about the Koenig Xenon, and in this beautiful blue anno configuration. What are we thinking? What do we know about this knife? What are we erring on the side of? It feels more like a gentleman's slicer than a big, Arius, mini Arius. So real beautiful knife. Let's start with some specs and see where things kind of go today. So overall length, we are coming in at 7.5 overall length with a blade of about 3 1/8. To the center of the choil, you're kind of 3 3/8, somewhere in there. So more on the medium size of things. Handle length of 4 1/8. About 4 1/8, which is a nice suit pocket, inner suit jacket kind of size in my opinion. And weight-wise, let's grab myself a little cloth. Actually, here we go. Let's grab the black Koenig cloth, because I don't want metal on metal on this little scale. So let's zero this off. It feels light. So let's take a look and see where we're coming in at. 3 ounces. I was actually going to guess 3. I was like, that might even be a little high. 2.9. Okay, wow. Sub 3. Woo! Sub 3 ounces on this guy. That is a heavy hitter for that size. So we are in that conversation of ounces to inches, which, as you guys know, is a very key number. Now, for those who don't know, so if it's a 3-inch blade, you want to weigh basically around 3 ounces. If it's 4-inch, you want to weigh 4 ounces, etc. So you're under the rule, which is fantastic. So what do we got here? Well, we've got blue anno on the hardware. I also have some in silver that are going to be making their way to the site as well. They're, I think, the same exact configuration, just with blue versus silver. It's a thumb stud. It is angled as well, and the milling on that thumb stud is just gorgeous. Hopefully you're watching in 4K and all of that detail is picked up. If not, it's definitely worthy to see. As I rotate around, we've kind of got some cross hatching here on the top of that, which is a nice little design element, which will probably double as jimping, I imagine. The locking mechanism is more of a tab kind of push button thing. I don't know what you'd call this. I don't know what they're calling that lock. I probably should have looked it up, but seems functional enough. You can kind of thumb flick it or reverse flick it based on having those thumb studs on both sides, as you can kind of see. The milling on both sides of the handle appear to be symmetrical in nature, in that you've kind of got the top and bottom in this beautiful, nice micro milling pattern. The hardware, it looks like it's probably about T8 on the show side, and on the back, ooh, that clip appears to be attached internally. I like that. One of my vices, I always like having those mounted internal, which is awesome. And I'm picking up on something underneath that clip. There's a little bit of blue anno hiding under that clip. That must be something to do with how that locking mechanism is mounted internally, or perhaps the back spacer. I'm not too sure. If there's something going on under that clip, I'm not going to sit here and pull that back and take a look, but that's a nice little detail. On the inside, maybe we get a little more of a peek on what's going on. Ooh, some milling underneath that backspacer. That's always gorgeous to see. Love me some details like that. And centering lines is kind of like a nice flex overall as well. And then what do we have under that clip? So it looks like we've got another, oh, so it's basically an inset liner lock that is actuated from up here. So there is there's a bit of an inset lock inside this. That's a nice little cool detail. Now the slabs are a lot thicker than the makeup of the knife you would think. That looks a lot thicker than I would have thought, but it's not thick in hand. We do have skeletonization on both sides, it looks like, or maybe just on the show side. There's a lot of kind of that thick Koenig Xing that they like to do. You can kind of just get a little peek of it there. But, you know, if you have an Arius and you've looked inside, that big X will be no surprise to you. Moving around to the back of the handle, there's that cross hatching on the blade we talked about earlier between the studs. Quite nice. That's how it feels in hand. Quite nice as well. Not very grippy, I'd say. Pretty dialed back, right? You're not trying to pull the threads of your suit jacket, I would assume, on this. As we go down the blade as well, it is nice and flat across the top, and it's rolled and angled all towards the tip, and nothing really special going on there, I'd say. Nothing that doesn't stand out that's super loud. We have that stone wash on the bottom. It is a very hollow grind, very, very hollow. Koenig on the top here with a little bit of a, I don't know what they're calling it, but it's a little bit of a hand rub on the top there. So it's kind of a two-tone blade. Very nice, very pointy. This feels like a mini Arius, or sorry, not mini Arius, a mini Astrum. I'm getting mini Astrum kind of vibe from this. So same thing on the other side. M390 is written up here. That's a nice little detail as well. A good spot for it. Then you have that two-tone blade with that stone wash. And then that locking button. And then before we go into the lock, on the back spacer we have another X. Remember, it is Xenon, so you know, the X theme, I guess, is found throughout. Basically X on the jimping, X on the back spacer, and then the X milling on the pocket. So if you're a Vin Diesel fan and a XXX movie savant, then you'll like the X's all over the place. I kid, obviously, but look at the detail. Look at the pin underneath in the middle there. It's just popping through. That is gorgeous. I'm going to put this blade back in just so we can kind of look at that a little better without risking the blade against the chopping block there. Ooh, that is a nicely done and milled blade. I'm curious what this looks like on the silver variant to see if there's milling lines that are kind of, there might be some hiding in that blue ano. Fantastic. I'll do it from this side as well. So you kind of just see the light hitting it there. Oh, some dots it looks like down the center, some little dot lines, or is that milling strips? Oh, those are milling lines. So I'm looking at this, remember, on like a 1-inch screen right now, and I'm just trying to find these little details, and definitely there's some cool ones on this backspace that I was not expecting. Oh, even some pinch in on the end there. Cool, and dead center, and then I guess the lines underneath will line up nicely on the inside. You can see as well how thick this knife is in the middle versus the back and the front. So I'm assuming this will fill the hand nicely. It is rounded in the middle, very much like the Arius. 3D contoured, nice. Very, very nice. A lot lighter than I was expecting. And at first I was like, man, this is just begging to have a flipper up here, but that's also my preference. You know, detent seems pretty light, so it should be pretty smooth to launch. Now, my finger naturally wants to go right here because it feels like a mini Arius, thinned out, I'd say, but my finger goes right to this spot, and there is nothing to deactivate that lock. You have to lean a little bit forward, and then it goes down. So I wonder why they did that. I don't know. I'm sure there's an advantage to this system versus making it as a true inset liner, but it kind of sticks out just a little hair. Nice little lever to push on. It's not awkward by any stretch, but it is more of a gentleman's folder, which is a complete departure from the Koenig Arius, which is more of a working heavy user in my opinion. And that XXX theme right there, that's a cool detail. I love me some XXX. I'd love to see what this looks like more closely with some light underneath that clip to see what kind of details I'm missing there as well. We'll do some light comparisons. I know I do have a bunch of Ariuses and mini Ariuses on the site, but just a reminder, I don't open those up and use them as comparison knives. I have my own collection for those, so I am not getting into those. But I do have obviously my normal massive batch of Shiros. So we'll start with the Astrum, which I said earlier, this feels like a scaled down Astrum, and as you can kind of tell there, you can see a lot of similarities here. The angling on the handle on the Shiro goes to the back, whereas this kind of barrels in, but it still has a nice kind of Koenig vibe to the front of it. And then the blade shape is just, it's very mini Astrum to me. That's how I feel on this knife. We'll grab a Neon as well. This is Shiro's new Neon, the Sprint Run of 90mm blade. Beautiful knife, but appropriate size comparison. So as you can kind of see, it's a little bit smaller than the Neon, not by much in overall length, but just in the width of the handle. It's kind of a fair comparison. We'll grab a Chris Reeve small Semenza as well, which is a little bit smaller, as you can see. And that's not a big knife, but you can kind of see it's a little bit smaller than the Xeon. And we'll grab a large Sabanza, an S45 VN drop point. There you go. So it feels like this is kind of in between the large and the small. I'd be kind of curious to see how it stacks against like a Stellar as well. Although it is, I can oust it, right? We can go F95 braces. It's two completely different knives here, right? Size-wise, they're not even in the same league. So Stellar is going to be obviously quite a bit bigger as well. And I can't seem to find it. My wife may have grabbed that. We'll grab a Rask. This is from Grimsmo. So there you go. That is your Rask. Just for size comparison, this is nothing more than just showing some popular models in kind of their natural habitat. So there you go. In terms of fit in hand, I wanted to see how this kind of stacks as well. So I'm an extra large glove, and it is small. My hand kind of hangs off the end, which is kind of what you'd expect for this kind of size. Nothing too crazy, but certainly in tune with the size. The other beautiful thing is you can kind of choke up a little bit on the slicey side of this by going further past the front of the pivot, as there's that built-in choil that's kind of padded a little bit. So if you do want to choke up on it and do fine cutting, you certainly can go right down to the end of that blade. So there's nothing too crazy there either. So that's a nice little touch. So in hand, when I'm holding it back here and my fingers rest on the jimping and the cutting spot on there, sorry, it keeps focusing around, when it sits on there, yeah, I've got a lot of room on the handle, almost another full finger's worth. But when I go back, then yeah, I feel a little bit behind the pivot, so to speak. But overall, you know, it fits nicely for what it is. I think this would be great in a suit jacket or just kind of in a weekend pocket where you're not really trying to do too much with a blade. Now they are expensive. They are more at a table price than the current batch of Arius and mini Ariuses, which I could attest to. Maybe it's just the fact that I think they're a concept knife at this point. I don't know if they're full production. So they are kind of testing the market, I think, a little bit right now. So beautiful done, beautifully executed, and certainly would fit nicely in my case. I'm gonna have to grab one, I think, and put it in the case as a comparison knife because it's just too cool. So anyway, short video on this guy. Just wanted to show it. If you're a Koenig fan, this will be a natural for you, and there's a lot going on with this knife that you can kind of, it's hiding under the hood, and certainly worth taking a look at. As a reminder, guys, throw a thumbs up on the video. It always helps. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, Facebook, I think that's all of them. Leave a comment. It just helps the video for every Monday, Thursday, 7 a.m. Eastern for new content. And otherwise, what do you guys think of the Koenig Xenon? I think it's pretty killer. It's a definite different step versus the Arius and the Mini Arius. And I think it fits in their line very nicely, almost akin to like that smaller Chris Reeve knife. But although this, what's it called, the Mandy, this one seems a little bit bigger than that. So same kind of vibe, just a little bit more Koenig element to it, which is kind of what you'd expect. So anyway, I'll leave you at that. Short video, like I said, I wanted to kind of hit 15 on this one for once. I'm always trying to keep it under 20 or 25 just because that's how long it takes my computer to crash before I've got to reset things. Anyway, guys, have yourself a fantastic week. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, etc., leave them below. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.